Hi guys, and welcome back to Single Talk. So, I asked you guys what you wanted to talk about today, and the majority won in love bombing. So, let's talk about love bombing. The definition of love bombing is the action or practice of lavishing someone with attention or affection, especially in order to influence or manipulate them. So, let's talk about how this goes ahead and reflects dating nowadays. A lot of people go ahead and they even start up a pick-a line with, "You're my wife," or "Hey, future wifey." With that being said, that's already an initiation to love bombing. What does love bombing really truly mean? I know we said the definition, but I think people go ahead and love bomb because they want to project this idea of a fantasy to somebody else. Whether it is intentional or non-intentional, it still creates a little bit of this toxicity in the beginning of a relationship. I don't want to necessarily even say toxicity. With love bombing, I don't think it's always necessarily intentional to go ahead and manipulate somebody. But I think what people end up doing accidentally is they go ahead and they start off really, really strong. Because hi, you're love bombing me right now. I think a lot of people want the fantasy of relationships nowadays. I think a lot of people want to go ahead and fast forward the work of relationships and jump to this comfortable standpoint in relationships with strangers. So, you start off with future wifey because you see a photo. And what you do is you go ahead and you fast forward to this perfect life you have with this person that you truly don't know. So you go ahead and you take the bait. You go ahead and you're like, wow, this person really likes me off the bat. They're calling me future wifey. They're like, wow, I can't wait for us to cook in our kitchen one day together. With all of that being said, it's a false pretense of what the reality of a situation is without putting in the work. Let's talk about love bombing and examples. For example, you go ahead and you see somebody's picture, and female, male, you go ahead and you start projecting this whole world, this fantasy of a real life situation where, okay, like I can see this person being my partner, I can see us going to the pumpkin patch, I can see us cooking in the kitchen and baking together and watching movies. And so you go ahead and you jump the gun. You go ahead and you're like, hey, future wifey, hey baby, this and that. To then go ahead and continue the communication and continue to go ahead and say, I can't wait for us to cook together in our kitchen one day. It's okay to go ahead and ask somebody if they want children, but to go ahead and say, I can't wait for you to have my children, that's where that's where the line gets crossed. I think we go ahead and we take the bait because we're in a society where we want connection and love easy. We don't want to put in the work. Nobody wants to put in the effort nowadays. So you go ahead, you start love bombing, and you're like, wow, this could be really, really great. Let's go ahead and jump all in to not really know a person, to then start to get to know a person and realize maybe I don't really like them, or like the definition said, manipulate them to eventually get what you want. Whether that is companionship, convenience, sex, and then once that's done and you're gonna get hit with the dose of reality being like, well, maybe this person really isn't for me, then there's the ghost. So a lot of the times it's a love bombing ghost situation. Or it's a love bombing to relationship. Then eventually, like I'm saying, you go ahead, you get to know the person, and the relationship isn't what this picture seemed to be. I don't think that love bombing is meant to be malicious. I think some people do it without realizing that they're doing it. However, I think that love bombing is not the healthiest way to go ahead and start a relationship. Most people do see love bombing as red flags. You have rose-colored glasses on, red flags don't go ahead and look like red flags. They just look like flags. Personally, when I see love bombing or I get a message that can insinuate love bombing, I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and not engage in this. I think people know what they're doing. They're very consciously aware of their actions. I think nowadays a lot of people are longing for connection and companionship, where they want to go ahead and fast forward without putting in the effort. It leads to more fantasy living than real life living. With love bombing, you kind of start up here and then it slowly goes like this. It is not the most stable foundation. I think the slow and steady buildup of truly getting to know a person is stronger than going ahead and just throwing all your love at somebody, realizing that that person may not deserve your love, or you got what you wanted, so you're like, okay, I'm good now, and which then leads to eventually a downfall, which, like I'm saying, I don't think it's meant to be mean. I don't think it's meant to be malicious. I think that it's just this person got what they wanted, or realized that whatever this is isn't what they wanted. And so then you continue to move on. So to move on from this topic, thank you guys for always showing the support. I love you guys so much. I'm really glad that you guys like Single Talk as much as I do. I think I initially started doing this to go ahead and talk about dating, not realizing how many other people want to talk about dating and share their experiences and listen to other people's point of views. So I'm always open to discussions about dating, especially coming from a female standpoint to every other standpoint. And I love you guys. So thanks for listening to me always talk about this. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.